Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fear Assembly. I've got a great group today that we're going to discuss a number of upcoming horror films, as well as what we've been watching, and we're going to make a lot of recommendations for you, so that you have plenty of things to check out. Bryan, do you want to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Yeah, hi, I'm Bryan Starr at B Star Cinema across the board, and I'm so excited to be here for sure. Horror to me is a genre that I put off for most of my life, mainly just because I got scarred as a kid watching Are You Afraid of the Dark and the intro to Children of the Corn. So I put it off for quite a while. And when I say that, I mean like I haven't become obsessed with the genre until I would say like 26, 27 maybe is when I really got into it. And now I can't get enough of it, even though I still get scared very easily with everything. But it's a lot of fun. But yeah, so it's to me, it's been fun discovering everything kind of for the first time in my adult life.
What was the film that you saw at 26 or 27 that made you say, like, all right, now I kind of am into this?
House.
House.
This is one of them. I
Nice.
remember I randomly got the DVD in someone's collection that I bought because physical media is my thing, and I watched House, and you know there's a few others like Evil Dead 2, but I watched House and was just like, this is so much fun.
Mhm.
Let me get more and let me just keep going, and yeah, it's just grown from there for sure. But yeah, House means a lot to me.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Amelia, Ricky.
I'm Ricky, known as Ricky666 on all socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We've I'm starting to make YouTubes, and man, it takes so much time to make YouTube videos. It's crazy. Going from TikTok videos to YouTube is a whole different ballgame, man. I spent like 4 hours today filming and editing a video. Anyway, I digress. I love horror movies. Um, and as always, I'm really happy to be here. Nice to meet you, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. Great seeing you all. Super excited for all of this for sure. So yeah,
And Amelia.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Amelia. Also, hello, Brian. Nice to meet you. Never
we
met
did it.
you.
We're here.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm Amelia. Across all socials, I'm Clarks_capers. Talk about, of course, all horror and spookiness. I tried to tie in some psychology and some stuff as well, like kind of historical bits too. And I first fell in love with horror very, very young when my mom was watching Psycho, but also I did grow up watching Hammer horror, so like your Draculas, Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee. So that's when I really started falling in love with horror. And as you can tell, massive Blade fan. Massive Blade fan. Blade all day.
Have you seen that they're bringing out Dracula again in September
Yes, I have. I
in
don't.
4K at the cinema?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, Ricky. Like, I'm excited, but they're saying as well there's going to be some unreleased clips.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they are.
They sent me some really cool merch for that.
Nice.
They sent me, I think it's upstairs, but it's a vinyl of like the score.
Yes.
One side is one disc is Dracula, and the other is the Curse of Frankenstein, and it's beautiful.
Oh, very cool. They sent me a while ago like a vinyl, and it's The Devil Rides Out. So it's a massive like satanic head in the middle of this vinyl, and it's shaped like a. It's so sick. Yeah,
That's
it's got
so
great
cool.
stuff.
The artwork's key. I mean, Bryan, you brought up physical media. What got you into that? What makes you choose which things to get and how you
Yeah.
collect?
Yeah, my family for sure. I grew up with a VHS closet, and you'd open up the closet door, and it's just tapes in alphabetical order by genre. And my dad kept a list. And at one point, or I think my sophomore year of high school, maybe my junior, I realized I can't take this with me when I leave and go to college, so I should start collecting as well. And this was in the beginnings of the DVD era. And so I just started buying my own movies, and it just kept growing. And you know, I've moved 15, 20 times since then, and the collection comes with me, and it's too much. I have way too much.
How much is too much? How many do you have?
Yeah. It's over 3,000 right now.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
it's if I can find a photo and we can put it up in a future episode of when I moved last about 2 years ago, half of my room was just totes of movies. It's a
man.
problem.
What's your most rarest piece that you've got?
It was the Dogma Blu-ray before Dogma came out on 4K, but I have it signed by Kevin Smith. So I think like that was like pristine, nice, like really, really sought after, with his signature. So I would say that still, and then maybe like Del Toro's Criterion. Three of his films, Criterion put out like a square copy. And it unfolds kind of into a cross, and you got three of his movies, and that's you can't buy that in stores anymore. So that's a nice piece for sure.
Rad.
Sweet. Well, so we talked about Dracula. What other movies are coming out that you guys are excited about, and any that you've seen recently that you want to discuss?
Oh, I saw Passenger the other day,
Mm.
and I was invited to the screening for it, but I couldn't go. And it's, if you haven't heard about it, it's basically a couple on the road living that van life, and they basically get stalked down by something called the, what was he called? The Visitor, or the, has anyone seen it? It's like he's like the, oh, what's he called? He basically stalks them down. He's everywhere they go. And he's called something, and I wasn't into it.
Mm.
I wasn't into it.
I've
Like,
heard very mixed things about it. Yeah.
oh yeah. I mean,
Same.
I'm one of those ones that, because I do like horror comedies, but also normal horror I do find quite comedic as well. And I was laughing. There was some
Mm.
really just weird bits in there, man. Yeah,
I've
weird,
always
weird
found
stuff.
I've always found though, when a trailer gets that much attention and the trailer is that good, because the trailer is fantastic.
Yeah.
But that's just a concept, right? You've got to turn that concept into something actually good.
Mm.
And I've not seen it, so I'm not passing any judgment on it. But like, I've always found when the concept when the trailer blows up like that, the film is always a bit of a letdown because we're expecting so much, you know?
Yes, you're so right, because the trailer was so, it gave us a little bit, but it's got nothing really to do with the actual story, which I really liked.
Mm.
But there's a Creepster episode with a hitchhiker. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's like, Are You Going My Way or something? I can't remember. And I thought it was going to be quite reminiscent of that. And there was a few clips in the film that was, but then it just, yeah, I would really want to know what you guys think of it, but it wasn't for me at all.
Mm.
Yeah,
All
really
right.
funny though.
Okay. So Brian, what are you excited about that's either out now or coming soon, or have you seen anything big? Have you seen Backrooms yet? Have you seen Obsession? Have you seen
I saw
Passenger as well?
Backrooms last night,
Okay.
and I cannot stop thinking about it.
Wow. Okay.
It's
So without spoilers, first, I mean, set it up for anybody that has not heard of Backrooms, and express why people should check it out.
Backrooms, it came from a still image of literally some rooms in the back of a furniture store, and a piece of lore was attached to this single image, and it just kind of went from there. And Kane Parsons, who I think was 16 at the time, made a video called Backrooms, and the entire 98% of the movie or the video is made in Blender, which is, I think he wasn't even paying for it at the time, but it's a software that you can create VFX, and he created this video of going through the back rooms, and the environment that he created was so scary. I think it has like 70 million views or something. And since then, he's made 22 videos on YouTube about Backrooms, and he's created this really rich lore based off of this single image. And now it's a movie. And so I rewatched the series on YouTube just to, fully remember everything, because it's so like thick with lore and everything. I rewatched going into it, and I'm as happy as I can be. Being a fan, someone who's kept an eye on Kane for a couple of years now. I put it out there. It might be my movie of the year. Obviously, we're not even close to being done with this year. This year is insanely rich of cinema. But I kind of know when something is made for me, and I couldn't be happier with that movie. That being said, I think it's going to be very divisive. I think people are going to walk out of it thinking it's the worst movie they've ever seen, and they're wrong.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm a fan.
All right. Well, we're going to talk more about liminal horror in just a moment. But before we do, Ricky, what are you looking forward to most that's coming out?
All of it. I've not seen any of them. My schedule has been so hectic at the moment with kids being off school and just like other business stuff. But just all of it. I haven't seen Obsession. I've not seen Passenger. I've not seen Backrooms. And I'm just excited for life to calm down a little bit so I can just watch them all back to back in one day and then just like let it marinate, and then just go from there. But I mean, I watched a film 2 nights ago, which I can't stop thinking about. I'll talk a bit about it a bit more later on, but it's called Dragonfly, and it's a new British social realism film that just threatens to be a horror film all the way through. And again, I'll explain a bit more later on, but it is my favorite film I've watched this year.
All right.
Yeah.
So Bryan, back to Backrooms for a second. Why is it something that you can't stop thinking about? Like, give us a little bit more without the spoilers.
Yeah, well, I get excited. I've been into filmmaking since I was 12. It's a big passion of mine. I like telling stories, and I like when I see the younger generation with the same I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but hunger, I guess, to tell stories. And Kane, he's just been absolutely killing it. And so to see him at such a young age create something like this is just really special. It's the same with Obsession and seeing what the budget was for Curry, less than $1 million is insane. And so I champion that all the time. I will champion a lower budget film if it's good. And if it's good, it's probably going to be better. I'm probably going to walk out thinking that it's better than most other, big major studio films. And so part of the excitement is look at what this kid did. And I hate that his age keeps being referred to, but I think that's just how awesome it is to see. So that's one thing that I'm just obsessed with. But two is I said this pretty much when I finished the movie, but not since Schenectady, New York, which is a movie by Charlie Kaufman, have I looked at the screen and thought to myself, I am seeing something brand new in the world of cinema. There's something to it. There's something, and obviously I can't, fully get into it, but there's something to this that I can't imagine approaching this movie with zero knowledge of Backrooms. And I want to hear from those people because this is so new, even though, there's similar things here and there. This is so new that I'm just such a fan. I could have watched a 5-hour cut of this movie. I could have stayed in the Backrooms for sure.
And maybe we'll see a 5-hour cut one day. There's a lot of great director cuts and extended edition, alternate endings. Like I Am Legend, for instance, which is obviously what they're kind of building the next iteration of that franchise around. But I'll be one of those people in the sense that I've not seen, all of the Backrooms YouTube videos. I've seen clips. I understand, what that world is about. But I'm going to be going in blind at some point this weekend. So that and Obsession are the two that I'm personally most excited to see in theaters very soon here. Schedule pending, just like you, Ricky, with the kids. So. So with that, let's talk more liminal horror. The one that I think has to be recommended off the top, and it's a classic. Most people have seen it, but it's worth discussion. Is The Shining, and this is one that broke the rules in terms of how a building, or in this case, a hotel, is structured. In the sense that everybody that has analyzed this movie understands that Stanley Kubrick intentionally made it such that the architecture and the blueprint, if you will, of this hotel does not quite align. And there's a lot of lore and reasoning into why, but it's a film where all the characters, as they kind of go about this property, you really don't know what room they're going to walk into, and if they're going to encounter danger and some kind of threat, or if they're going to discover more information that they're looking for as the story moves forward. So again, it's weird to say no spoilers for a movie that came out 35, 40 years ago, but if you have not seen The Shining, you need to start there, before you go see any of the new stuff, because everything kind of builds upon prior art, in my opinion. Not that they're stealing from it or replicating things, but in my opinion, The Shining is one of the great liminal horror films of our time, and Stanley Kubrick, one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. The hidden gem that I want to bring up, similar to The Shining in the sense that it takes place in a hotel, is called I Live Here Now. This is a indie film released by my distribution company, Utopia. It was directed by Julie Pacino, and it's about a young lady that gets pregnant, and as she's getting different opinions of what to do with her unborn child, and how she should go about her relationship. In her case, with the actor played by Matt Rife, she finds herself in this hotel, kind of wandering around again, experiencing different characters in different rooms, and things just don't quite add up, and it really has a liminal feel to it. Ricky, Amelia, how do you guys feel about the liminal horror genre? What would be your recommendations?
So, my taking of liminal horror is like, almost analog horror, right? Weaponizing the uncanny. So I think that the obvious one for me is Skinamarink. I think that is the second most scariest film ever made. That is the film that has scared me the most after The Exorcist. And like what Bryan was saying earlier on, when I was watching it, I was sat there thinking the whole time, what is this? And why is this? We hadn't seen anything like that before. And it's another film that people either love or hate. And it's interesting, Bryan, whenever somebody says you're either going to love or hate this film, and most people don't like the film, I tend to really love the film. And Skinamarink is that film for me. I will die on that hill that Skinamarink is, for me at least. I'm not here to tell anybody what is scary or what they should find scary. It's all subjective, but that terrified me. That feeling of like being lost or forgotten, and terrifying film. And the sort of unknown one, I think if you know analog horror, you probably will know this one. It's called Doors, and it's a series on YouTube. The whole premise is basically these doors take you to a place, and you don't know when they're going to appear, why they're there. There is no real meaning behind it, but it's just that classic analog terror that just works so well for me. I love analog horror, and I love the fact that analog horror is now transitioning into the mainstream, because it's new, and we're always banging that drum. We want original horror. We want something new, like music. We're never going to get anything new with music. Like music is just recycled stuff, right? But there is so much space for originality in horror. And I think analog horror is the future of horror because we're seeing it. And I just wanted to touch on what you said earlier on, Bryan, about his age being brought up. I think his age is important. His age is, it gives me hope for the future, that there are people younger than me, more creative than I am, and horror is in good, safe hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Amelia, how about you on the liminal horror space?
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off what Bryan and also Ricky is saying about the age thing, it's the same with Curry Barker, right, with Obsession, which I absolutely, that's my favourite film so far of the year. And again, his age has been brought up a lot too, but I do agree with Rick. It's like, look, horror is in safe hands. We have people that started off with an image like Kane, or with a YouTube channel like Curry, like actually making some really, really great films and breaking through that kind of glass ceiling of creating and having films that are really profitable. I haven't seen Backrooms yet, but I'm very excited to see Backrooms. So yeah, just say on the age thing. But in terms of like liminal horror, for me, I was thinking of like the first liminal horror film that I can remember seeing, and it was probably 1408, because I think I watched 1408 before I watched The Shining, and it terrified me. When I was a bab, like it really did scare me, because so much was packed into that room. And so many different things happened that made me feel claustrophobic while I was watching it as well, which is a really cool thing that liminal horror can do. Because of course we've got like things like Skinamarink and The Shining, in terms of corridors, but there's also that liminal horror when it comes to just a room and that suffocation in that room as well. So yeah, 1408. And then something that I think wasn't well known, but I think now people are starting to watch is Vivarium. I absolutely love that film. The child in it is a little bit annoying, but I think that's the point of the film. I think that's the point. But
what's the premise of Vivarium for listeners that have not heard this one?
Yeah. So it's basically, I don't know if this, Ricky, I mean, I don't know if you can side me here. I don't know if this is like a UK thing, but there's loads of new builds in the UK. There's loads of carbon copy houses that look exactly the same in towns that look really, really similar. And that's what we get in Vivarium. It's basically loads of maybe like townhouses, I would say, maybe for other audiences. And a couple go to view a new house that they want to rent or buy or whatever. The geezer that's showing them around is a little bit weird, but they're like, okay, cool. Yeah, the neighborhood looks fine, whatever. Go and see the house, go upstairs, go downstairs, and the guy's gone. And now they're stuck in the house and they can't get out of the town. While they're trying to figure out how to get out of the town, a knock on the door happens and a baby gets delivered to them. And it says, raise the baby and then you'll be able to leave. And that's what it's all about. In terms of claustrophobia, fabulous. There's also some really, really pretty visuals. Like the sky is gorgeous and very uncanny and creepy, and also just pouring into that liminal thing as well. Like I love the film. It's really great.
Yeah, and Jesse Eisenberg does a great job in that film as well. It's one of those horror films that has a really strong cast and a unique story. So yeah, Vivarium is a hidden gem for sure. So if you've not seen that, make sure to check it out. So switching gears slightly, we brought up horror comedies a little bit earlier in this conversation. Scary Movie 6 is coming out here shortly, and I think that there's a new trailer that just dropped as well. In your guys' opinion, what are some of the best horror comedies out there, and why is it such a successful subgenre in general?
So horror comedy isn't usually my favorite thing. It takes a lot for a horror comedy to work for me. But when it does work, I have always said for years that like the feeling of hysterical laughter and and fear are very two similar feelings, right? And if it doesn't work for me, it just doesn't work. Unfortunately, it's subjective, isn't it? But I think a well-known one that really works is Cabin in the Woods. You go into that movie expecting, oh my God, another Cabin in the Woods movie. And then something happens sort of like half hour into the movie that you're just like, what? Like, what is this? And it's just funny. It's gory. And it's a really twisty film. And you just can't predict what happens. And I'm a big fan of practical effects, and I think there's loads in that one. And I think my less known is a British film from 2016 called Severance, not to be confused with, the TV show Severance. And it's about a group of work colleagues who go on this like a team building experience, and it just all hell breaks loose, and it's just like pure mid 2010s gory gloriness, and it's hilarious.
Yeah,
and it's got Danny Dyer in it.
I haven't heard of that one, so that's going to be my watch for tonight after the kids go to bed.
It's genuinely laugh out loud funny.
Yeah.
Good. That's what I want to hear. Bryan, how about you? What would be some recommendations in the horror comedy space?
I have one that I don't think was meant to be a comedy. And since then I think it's become a cult classic, and it's been staring you in the face the whole time. It is Troll 2, and I actually have my newest copy right here to
There
show
you go.
off, because this is a beautiful, from Vinegar Syndrome, Troll 2. This is a movie that you get 20 of your friends together and just have fun. This similar vibes to Rocky Horror in the sense of everyone can, everyone who's seen it maybe multiple times can gather, and you're all shouting out different lines kind of at the same time, and you're doing different things, maybe throwing popcorn at the screen or whatever when certain things happen in the film. I know for a fact the director didn't intend on it to be a comedy, just because there's a documentary called Best Worst Film, or I think is what it's called. And the kid in the movie, it directs this documentary, and the director kind of hates the infamous popularity that it has now, because we're not taking it seriously at all. It's absolutely bonkers and goofy, and also has nothing to do with the movie Troll at all.
Mhm.
So it's a blast. But I think that's a good one that I think people have heard of. And then one that maybe people haven't heard of is a movie called Pandemonium. Is another film from Vinegar Syndrome.
Hmm.
And the cover looks more serious than the movie really is. But essentially, what it is it's a slasher spoof. So think of Airplane or Naked Gun, but in the horror space. Paul Rubens is in it. Who else? I wrote, Judge Reinhold as well. And it's a spoof on a slasher, and it's really goofy. Really kind of, it's almost like a joke per minute type of movie. And I think I was pleasantly surprised to pick this up and actually enjoy it for what it is. So yeah, there you go.
Great. Well, I'll add to all of your recommendations. So I'm going to start with an obvious one. This is Jordan Peele's Get Out. And as most people now know, Jordan Peele, who started in the comedy space, doing everything from kind of short skits and various videos, he was told, "Hey, why are you making a horror film? You're in the comedy space." He's like, "Well, maybe I'll blend it into both." And it actually had some of the funniest scenes that I can remember, and some of the funniest dialogue as well from folks like Lil Rel Howery, who is a professional comedian as well. But this is also a movie that came out at a moment where pop culture wanted to see something like this that kind of played with race relations and lore, and kind of take it its own direction. It was very unique for its time, and that's why Jordan Peele won pretty much every award that year that I can remember. And then was given the baton to go and make 4 or 5 other movies. And he's got more coming out, including one. I believe it's either late this summer or next year. I can't recall the next release date that he has. But Get Out is a classic. If you have not seen it, make sure to check it out. The hidden gem. I'm gonna again go back to my Utopia catalog and rep this film, but it's called The Civil Dead. And the premise of this is there are 2 male friends, and one of them's like, "Hey, good hanging out. Time for you to go home." And the guy tries to leave, and he can't. And so they, continue to kind of work through things that kind of ties into the vivarium concept, where they realize that the friend can't leave because he is a ghost, and they have to figure out why he's a ghost, what happened, and how can they, kind of undo whatever the situation is. And it's hilarious. And I don't want to overshare all of the backstories to this, but the filmmakers received let's say a modest investment to kind of kick off this project. They felt like it was not enough money. And so they did something that you normally cannot do based on your operating agreement and the laws in pretty much every country, which is to take that money, go to Vegas, put it all on red, and try to double down. And they did. And they won a lot of money in Vegas, thankfully. Who knows where that story would have gone if they hadn't won.
Yeah.
But then they doubled down and took that new budget and turned it into this film called The Civil Dead. And it's a classic. I love it. And it's why Utopia picked it up and had a great release with it. So for those of you who have not heard of Civil Dead, make sure to check it out.
I just want to say and plug something, if I might.
Yeah.
So I said I don't like horror comedies, but I'm currently in the middle of writing a horror comedy, if you can believe it or not. And that film, annoyingly, sounds very similar to the idea that I'm currently working on. So it's basically about this woman who's recently been widowed. Her husband has lived most of his life in a wheelchair. He dies, lives in the afterlife with his legs back, but he gets brought back to the house in a wheelchair, and he's very unhappy about it. But again, he can't leave until they figure out they didn't really talk to each other. They were one of the married couples that kind of just went through life not really knowing who they were. They have to work it out, and they finally fall in love as ghosts and as him as a ghost. But every time he gets really upset, he like wails like a goofy ghost. Anyway, that's what I'm working on at the moment, and now I'm annoyed because that sounds like my film.
That sounds sick, man. That sounds awesome.
All right.
I know it's all right because as I'm writing it, it's making me laugh. So if it makes me
Sure.
laugh, it should make somebody else laugh, right?
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very much like what Ricky was saying with horror comedies. Like, like Passenger, for example. Like I was saying, that made me laugh, and I would watch that as a comedy, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
for my comedies, like I put down, or I was thinking about like Shaun of the Dead, like staple. Everyone's seen it. Very, very British. Edgar Wright's freaking awesome, and he started off, of course, doing things like Spaced, which I didn't like because I just couldn't really get the comedy, even though there was like video game references and stuff. I was like, it's cool, but the comedy didn't really resonate with me. But then I watched Shaun of the Dead, and I was like, this is freaking awesome. Great. A really cool commentary as well on people walking around like zombies, like without being dead, if that makes sense. They're not living their lives to the full. And I thought it was a really cool commentary in it as well. And then one that was more not well known is a film called Bad Hair, which is, if you haven't heard of it, it's so sick. It's basically about a black girl that works at a office, and everybody in this office has like really long weave, really long hair, and she's like, I've got 4C hair and I don't feel like people are treating me right. Maybe I should get a weave because then I'll be treated like everybody else. So she goes, gets a weave, and it's basically a killer weave. And it's so stupid, but brilliant. Like it's so brilliant. Again, loads of awesome commentary in there as well about like how black women are viewed and all that stuff. But it's so outrageously dumb. It's brilliant. So funny.
Yeah, and sometimes these horror films are made, and they are intended to be just scary and serious and all that. And I remember, I don't know what layer of truth this has, but I heard that Snakes on a Plane was supposed to be a very serious, horror film about snakes and being kind of trapped in this, metal tube and not knowing how to get out. But in all of the early screenings that they had with various guests that could give feedback, they were like, oh, it's so funny, Samuel L. Jackson is great in this. They're like, no, it's not supposed to be funny, like more Samuel L., please. And they recut it into more of a horror comedy, and then it had that explosive success. I don't know what it did in the box office, but did very, very well. And I think it kicked off the subgenre in another way. And so bringing it full circle, I think it's going to be interesting to see what the feedback is on Scary Movie 6 as that comes out here in a couple days. But by all accounts, and what I've heard from our insiders, is that it is hilarious, and they're not really going for as many scares, but it is funny. It is like a date night popcorn movie. So really, really looking forward to that.
Cool.
Bryan, pick any topic, any conversation that you want to kick off here. Let's have some fun. Let's debate. Let's talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Well, the thing that's off the top of my head right now, coming out and saying that Backrooms might be my movie of the year, and I hate that these are going to be pitted against each other, Obsession and Backrooms, but that's just with the timing and with the young filmmaker aspect, I think it's just going to happen. But I think I would like to know what you all think about I think this is my movie of the year, even though I know Obsession is the better movie. And this happened to me last year where my movie of the year was 28 Years Later, but I know Sinners is the better movie. It's obvious. But when I make my top 10 every year, I'm never picking what do I think the better movie is. It's more the movie that was made for me. And I would love to know, do you guys how do you guys think about that? And maybe you guys have examples of that happening to you.
Well, what do you mean by better though? Because that's subjective, right?
100%. But sometimes you could just tell, right?
Yeah.
And
I know what you mean.
Because to your point, some people, they view it as production quality, some it's story,
sure.
some it's the acting performances. You think about
if I
Joaquin
had
Phoenix with Joker, right? Phenomenal performance.
Right. Yeah, there's so much that goes into it for sure. I would say, what does what does the movie do to what's the discourse? How does the mainstream audience take it? I think there's a reason why Obsession is so popular with the mainstream versus what Backrooms is going to do with the mainstream. And again, that's not really like a great example of why it's the better movie. It's just a small, if I had to like really scale it all out, it's a small sense. But I think it's just written Obsession is written so well and so perfect. Yeah, it's one of those movies that I would say is a perfect movie, which is
Wow.
kind of a rare thing
Okay.
to pull off. But collectively, it's just solid through and through. Whereas I think Backrooms, might have a few issues that I just can look past because it's super easy for me to do that.
It's really interesting what you're saying, and I do completely get you because, well, when I had I had a screener for Obsession because I was interviewing the cast,
Yeah.
and I had 5 chances to watch the film. So I was sitting at home and I watched it 5 times. I was like,
Yeah.
"No, this is sick. This
Yeah.
is sick," and I was completely obsessed with it.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
it's like what you're saying about Backrooms. For me, the theming in Obsession was the reason why it really connected with me personally. I was
Yeah.
like, I've had friends in a similar, obviously not a magic willow or whatever, in that situation, but I've had friends in similar situations with Control. I've also been in similar situations with Control as well. And the way, like you said, that the film is actually just written to me was awesome. Like, no, we're all analytical, right? That's why we're on this podcast. We love speaking about films, dissecting films, all of that. And I couldn't really think of any notes to make that film better. So, kind of what you're saying, I haven't seen Backrooms yet, but I know when I do see Backrooms, I'll be like, I can already say I like Obsession more because it just
Yeah.
hits such a nerve with me.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes, you're like, this is connecting with me in a neurological way that I didn't think was possible. Like, this feels like it was for me, or this is stories that I know on screen. And you mentioned you grew up watching the Backrooms on YouTube, so maybe that was your serendipity, or like, yes, like it's on the screen, or yes, like, this world has been fleshed out and built out even more, that it felt like this is, as a fan, something that
Yeah.
you can connect to. Might be that, I don't know.
Yeah, I like really weird stuff.
Yeah.
A name that I think might help people be interested in Backrooms is just simply, I just can just say David Lynch, and I think if I just say David Lynch, people will be like, okay, that makes sense. I get that. I was raised more on that type of content, or in film before I got, into horror. Obsession to me was this most scared I've been in a movie theater in a very long time. I do not want to watch it again in the movie theater because of that. Whereas Backrooms, I'm going to see again this weekend, happily. But that doesn't mean that one is better than the other. That's just how I'm wired, and would very much rather watch Backrooms again than go through what I went through with Obsession. As much as I loved it, and I got to speak with Curry as well, and I have so much passion for that movie. And yet I've still only seen it once, and that's by choice.
Sure,
But
sure.
Yeah.
wait, now you got to expand on this. What did you experience in the theater that was terrifying? Did you see other people faint, as the
No,
PR
no.
reps like to say in every headline of
Yeah,
every horror
right.
movie?
No, if anything, it was me. No fainting, but there was a moment where I was genuinely thinking to myself, how can I get out of this room? How can I leave this experience? And essentially what it comes down to is, without spoiling anything, there is the very first, what I think is the first jump scare in the movie, to me, comes completely out of nowhere. Typically, you can tell when a jump scare is happening. There's always setup. There's always a specific camera angle, the music. This jump scare happens out of nowhere. And from there on, I now know that I'm not safe, because at any point, anything can happen. And Curry has me, in his chokehold. I'm screwed. And so there's like a 10-minute moment later in the film where I'm literally like, my fingers are in my ears, I'm crouched, and I'm just like, how can I get out of this? even though the very next morning I have to interview Curry. How can I leave this room? And obviously I got through it, but yeah, it got me really good, to the point where there was things I didn't notice about the movie because I just like I was just like dreaming of not being in there. It's super powerful.
What did Curry say when you told him this?
You know, he laughed. We talked about well, I guess like it led to a certain question that got a little derailed because I asked something that there was an answer to that I didn't catch, and so he kind of answered it for me, and I was so excited because in real time I had a question in the back of my mind of how did this happen, and the director is telling me the answer, and I was giddy, and the video did well on social media, so that's cool too. Even though everyone, how didn't you see that, man? I was like, sorry, I was scared to death. I wasn't paying attention.
So is that video on your YouTube channel now?
No, this one is on Instagram and TikTok. So I took our 10-minute conversation and broke it down into like 4 segments, and so you can see those pretty easily. It's just me and Curry sitting together. So yeah,
that's awesome. Ricky.
Yeah, sorry, I was I want to see that film so bad, like,
yeah, me too.
Which is unusual because, like, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, nah, you know, the trailer doesn't speak to me directly, but I guess it all comes down to subjectivity, right? You know, you can appreciate the craft, but if a film speaks to you directly, then that is your favorite film of the year, regardless of how good or well made or how important the other film is to other people. I'm of the opinion that, like, we shouldn't be forced to say that something is good because everybody else is saying it's good. For instance, I really disliked Weapons when other people have been saying it's fantastic, but you have to speak your own truth, and you have to, you know, people, I think that people follow us for that reason. They want the honest truth. And you can say that this film is great, but this film is better because it spoke to me personally. It's a very personal thing for me. And when a film does what you're saying it's doing, ticking all the boxes for you, then that's the better film for you, you know?
Yeah, and for me, going back to your question to the group, Ryan, in terms of you know, does public opinion kind of change how we, you know, go into wanting to see this film or that film or whatever? You know, I think for everybody it does on a certain level. It's sitting there in your psyche, right? At a subconscious level, even to say like, oh, I remember, you know, somebody said it's not that great, especially if it comes from a friend or somebody that you do get other film recommendations from. If they're like, oh, it's just all right, then you know, you tend to kind of shy away from it. I personally don't mind seeing like a quote unquote bad movie as long as it's at least entertaining, right? And if something's like super gory or crazy or over the top, like as long as I kind of know that going in, then I can accept it for what it is. I'm not needing a Get Out type experience, you know, every time that I see a film, because I think in that respect, then you're always going to be disappointed. You know, if you're always expecting Kubrick or Spielberg or whatever, like good luck. You know, you're not going to like a ton of movies that are coming out.
But wouldn't we just get bored? Like if every film was just like a Kubrick
I think
film?
so, but it's
100%.
But the analogy is, you know, it's like you go to like a Michelin star restaurant, right? You have like one of the best meals of your life. Like you could still have crappy food the next day. You can go get fast food or just make a sandwich in the kitchen or, you know, whatever it is because you need to eat. So I think like there's still a demand at a human level for all forms of art and entertainment, right? And you brought up music and you made a comment like there's not a lot of original music. I think Danny Go would disagree if you listen to that with your kids. He's got some jams in there. But no, I think again it's an opinion-based thing. So, you know, to a New York Times critic, you know, a certain movie may not be great and they, you know, give their reasons why, but somebody else sees that movie and they can completely connect with it, right? Either because they experienced it themselves or otherwise. I mean, I read a story yesterday, not even a video or movie or anything, about Bigfoot, and I haven't really gotten into Bigfoot stuff in a while. That's a whole other story. But this thing that I read was creepy. It was interesting. It was new, and so it made me think a little bit differently than what has kind of been like planted, in my head of this whole Bigfoot lore. So, to your point, I think even like the average films, will rise to the top if the big studio stuff isn't doing it for people.
Do you think Gordon Ramsay ever goes to Macca's and slams a Dubsy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't think these guys understood a word I just said.
Let
Let me translate. Do you think Gordon Ramsay ever goes to McDonald's and eats a double cheeseburger?
If he's short on time and he needs to eat, yeah, for sure.
Of course, they are delicious, though, aren't they?
Oh, they're so good, man.
Dubsy,
Honestly.
although they have changed the recipe in recent years, which I'm not that happy about. But anyway, we digress again.
I'll voice note you, Ricky.
And I think it's different ingredients in different parts of the world as well. Because if you travel around and you go and you get a Big Mac or whatever, it's not necessarily the same thing. So
Yeah.
Can I just say, for KFC, the KFC in Jamaica is absolutely insane. It's so good. Like everything is like stepped up a million notches. The gravy is mad. So I really want to try KFC in the US to see if it's similar. Banging.
Right.
You guys take fried chicken pretty seriously over there in the States, don't you?
I don't have it that often, but
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm in Kentucky, right? So like the birthplace of Colonel Sanders or whatever. And I wouldn't say that like, oh yeah, have you tried the newest, fried chicken place? It's not really a thing. It's
I
there.
think it's because over here we only really have bad fried chicken. So
Dude, if I'm making it, man, look, it's absolutely sick.
voice note me.
Hell yeah.
All
Anyway,
right, well,
horror movies.
yes. Let's get back on track. No more restaurant franchising conversation here. So Ricky, you wanted to talk about some important horror films, right? Thank you for listening. This conversation will continue in the next segment. Make sure to like and subscribe.